In this video, I will share with you my 7 tips to improve your singing. It's been some time when I started taking singing lessons, and during this time I gathered these tips which I think are very useful. Some of them are very obvious and everyone knows about them, but some of them, when my teacher told them, I was like, wow, that's so true and you should really know about it. Tip number 1, find a teacher. Yeah, those tips comes from my teacher, and this is the best and fastest way how to learn something. Therefore, I would recommend to everyone to find a good teacher. He will guide you on your journey, you will improve way faster, and it's just way more fun and way more secure feeling that you have someone who will help you on this journey, which can be demanding in sometimes. Tip number 2 is to learn technique. So now you find a teacher, and the first thing, I guess, which you will be working on will be proper breathing. That's the first thing which you should learn. There are a few exercises which you can use. I did, for example, one in this video, and that's the basics of how you're singing. When you're learning guitar, you need to learn how to play the chords properly and how to hold the guitar to have the sounds. When you're learning harmonica, you need to learn the single tone, and when you're learning to sing, you need to how to use your breathing to have a nice clear tone. Tip number 3, learn lyrics by heart. It's so important. When you're singing, you have so much things to focus on, and it would be very inappropriate to just learn from the text. Because one of the main things is to cooperate with the public. You have to perform well, and when you're reading the lyrics, it's impossible. So tip number 3 is to learn lyrics by heart, and that's related to tip number 4, which is to know what you're singing about. Because now you know what you're singing about, you know the lyrics by heart, and when we are singing, we want to give some message to the people, share with them some emotion, some story. And to be able to share this story in a convenient way, trustworthy, we need to know what we are singing about. Because we are like an actor who has this scene, who knows his text, and he needs to say this message properly to his audience. That's what we are doing with the song. We are singing some story which we want to share with the audience. Therefore, it's super important to know what you're talking about, what emotion you want to bring to people, and have this emotion in mind. When you're singing about a girl who broke your heart, you need to imagine that girl who broke your heart, and suddenly you can really feel in your performance the change of the emotion. Tip number 5, be confident. Have you ever seen a singer who come on the stage and who would be like, what am I doing here? Leave me alone. No, that's not working. You need to come with your chest raised on the stage and be confident and show it to the people. My teacher always says that he always thought that I'm gonna kill you with my voice. Being confident and having this energy is super important, and I'm doing 2 things to make it a little bit easier. The step number 1 is to have a really good preparation, know the lyrics by heart, know what you're singing, know how you're gonna be performing, and then you can really rely on your performance, which calms you down in a way. The second thing which I do to feel more confident is to realize that people don't know how it's supposed to look like. They won't know if you make some mistake. Just go over that mistakes and keep pretending that that's how it's supposed to be. And one more thing always helped me. When I realized that the musicians know how hard it is to sing or play that instrument, so they can feel with you if you made some mistakes, and they don't bother, they don't care. And if you're not a musician, you won't notice the mistake, so it doesn't matter. So don't worry about it, be confident and enjoy the moment. Tip number 6 is a little bit different. It's to be very attentive how you're pronouncing the words when you're singing, especially when you're in the lower pitch. it's more important how you pronounce the words than the singing, because that's what it make how it sounds. And therefore it's very good to train not just melodies, but how to pronounce the words correctly. That's what you really work on, because the audience is following message, it's following some story which you're telling, and if they wouldn't understand you, if they wouldn't understand the words which you're telling, you would lose them and they would lose the interest. Therefore, it's super important to have in mind to learn the words and be very attentive about pronunciation. And tip number 7 is the same which I gave in the last video, in the tips how to practice guitar with the guitar, and it's to learn intervals. Being able to know the intervals is super useful when you're a singer who's learning the melodies. You know how the interval sounds, you know how the melody is going now somehow in your head, and it's just great skill which every musician should have. If you would want to hear more tips about how to practice the guitar, you can click on this video and see you at the next one.